Right, we're doing language arts. We're going to work on our sentence, parts of grammar. Let's start off with nouns first. That's always a good place to start. Who can name a noun? There are two of them. Jean?
Diamond?
No, look at diamond. What is diamond? It's describing something.
Adjective?
Yes, but we're not getting there. So what would be the noun that it's describing?
Nothing?
Yes, very good. Now, what is the other noun? It's a little trickier. Boy. Yes. No. No. Sparkling is describing. So that's our other. Sparkling is a descriptor, not a noun. So if we know that's the adjective, what would the noun be? Tessa. Yes. All right, we got our two nouns. So let us work on the easy thing. What is describing our nouns, which is what? What describes a noun? Winchine. Yeah, so why don't you tell me what is an adjective?
Diamond.
Yes. And what kind of necklace? A diamond necklace. Christian.
Sparkling?
Yes. Beauty is sparkling. Now, there is one more adjective. Remember, there can be more than one adjective describing a noun. Emma.
Giant?
Yes. A giant diamond necklace. All right, let's move on to the verb. What are the verbs? There are 3 verbs in this sentence. Emmy. Marvel. Yes. It can marvel at its sparkling beauty. Owen.
Aware?
Where did you say? What did you say?
Where?
Where? I think you said aware. Yes, where is definitely a verb. I can wear it. One more verb. Tessa. Fly. Yes, the whole thing is about flying, which I would love to do. So much fun. All right, so what about, do we have any, I don't have any. All right, let's move on to prepositions. Now remember, prepositions are location words. Christian.
Fly?
Nope. Remember, fly is a verb. Did I not write? Yeah, I did. Olivia.
Above?
Yes. Above. I'm going to write prep. Oh, pen marker is dying.
Oh no.
I know, and I like my purple marker. Hopefully, I think the blue one works. All right, so above, it says above it. Fly above. It is a direction or a location. It is above. All right, what else is a preposition? Jeremiah.
Bad?
Yes. Find it. Oh, yes, that works good. One more, not necessarily a direction, but it is a preposition. So we have so what is the other preposition? Oh, Helen.
Just.
M.
Can.
Sam.
It's.
Did you say it's? Winsheen.
It.
Owen.
And. Or.
Jonathan.
Like.
Yes. All right. Do you see any fanboys in our sentence? Are the fanboys making an appearance?
Yeah.
Jeremiah.
And.
Yes. And is a fanboy. I'm just trying to find it.
It's right.
There it is. This is a longer sentence. I'm just going to do C-O-N-J. All right, I see one more fanboy, though, that has also come to be part of the sentence. McKenna.
Or.
Yes, or. Bless you. What about, is there an article in our sentence? An article. Emmy?
Just.
Hmm?
Just.
No. Remember, an article is before a noun, and it's usually one of two words. Owen? Yes. Trying to find it. Where is it?
After light. Top. At the top.
Oh, there it is. All right, we're whittling it down. All right, so we do have an adverb. An adverb describes a what? What does an adverb describe? Jeremiah.
A verb.
Yes. So we have some verbs. So look at the selection. We have two verbs, wear and fly. Which one describes? Toby.
Where.
Hmm?
Where.
No, where is a verb? We're looking for an adverb. Descriptive of a verb. Luke.
Just.
Yes. Just fly. How does it fly? It just fly. Describe how it flies. So what about pronouns? What do pronouns do again in our sentence? What is a pronoun? Has noun in it, so it should give you a clue. What is a pronoun? M.
It. I forgot.
Emma.
It's like
what is a person's name called? What kind of a noun is that? You're right. Let's just define it. You're right. What is a name? What kind of noun is a name or specific place? It needs to be capitalized. Emmy. A proper noun. So a pronoun is or is not a proper noun. Proper noun. Yes or no? Proper noun. No. So instead of using the proper noun, you use a pronoun. So you don't have to use the same word, name, place every time. So, where do you see a pronoun? If it is something, but it's not using the proper noun form. Helen. Yes, and who can tell me what it is? What is the proper noun for it? Helen. What is she talking about? No, fly, or just fly above it. What is she talking about? Giant diamond necklace, or just fly above it. What was the giant diamond necklace? Quinchine. The bridge. So the bridge is the George Washington Bridge, but it would be hard to say the George Washington Bridge all the time. So we substitute that with the pronoun, which is it. Where is the other pronoun? Luke.
I.
Yes. And who is that? Who is I in our story? I don't know her name. Who is the I? Who is the one flying? Does it ever say her name?
Yeah, it does.
I thought so.
Yeah, it does. At the beginning, I think it was. Yeah. At the beginning?
No, it's not. It says me, Cassie Lewis. Daddy took me. I thought. Now I'm just curious, so I want to find out. And I will fly. Take Phoebe, the brother. I will have. I don't know. I don't know if it ever says. Now it is. The author is writing it about herself. I don't think it ever does. I will always remember when the stars fell down around me and lifted me up above the George Washington Bridge. She always uses a pronoun instead of a proper noun, so we don't know her name. But the author's name is Faith. So we could say that I is in place of Faith, because Faith is writing this about herself as a child. So let's say that. So we don't really know, we're just going to assume Faith. So every time Faith refers to herself, instead of using Faith every time, we use the pronoun for I or me. Okay? So can is a helping verb. You don't have to know that at this point. Helping verb. Let's see, did we, oh, and it, that's also a pronoun. I can wear it like a giant diamond necklace. What is it again? What is it? What is she talking about? Grant. What is she talking about, Jeremiah? It.
The bridge?
Yes. be really heavy to wear a bridge around your neck.
Yeah.
Just saying.
What if it wouldn't even fit?
It would be very, very heavy. All right, any questions? You got it all done. It is a possessive pronoun because it is talking about what? Marvel at its sparkling beauty. A possessive because there's an S. Because there's an S, it's a possessive, meaning more than one. Can Mrs. read right? I don't know. Good question. Possessive pronoun, whenever there is a S, it means there's more than one. Or it belongs to someone. Or it is, there's no apostrophe. So there you have it. Any questions? All right. That was a longer sentence, but a pretty straightforward one. So we decided that there are fanboys involved in the sentence. What does that make the sentence? A complex or a compound? Who remembers? If the fanboys make an appearance, what does it make that sentence? Emmy? Yes. Very good. So the fanboys are present. All right. Any more people, any friends, not read the book, watch the movie? Any new watchers? Okay. In total, how many have watched it? Is that my total? All right. I do think it would be fun as a class to watch it, but I would like to read the book. Well, that's right. We have left off with the title Seal Blubber.
What?
And we were discussing how seals and whales and penguins all have blubber. It protects them. Sit up. We're not laying down. Flora's father's car seats smelled like butterscotch and ketchup. And Flora was in the back seat where the smell of butterscotch and ketchup was the most powerful. Huh. That is a very odd combination. She had a bootsy boot shoebox with Ulysses in it on her lap. And she was feeling car sick even though the car wasn't moving yet. She was also feeling the tiniest bit overwhelmed. Who gets car sick when they ride in the car?
No.
Especially if I'm in the back seat.
I ride the back seat all the time and I don't get car sick.
That's good.
Me too.
All right. I just asked for an opinion. Things in general were pretty confusing. Really? Why do you think her life is confusing right now? What is happening in her life that would be utterly confusing? Can't imagine why she's feeling that way. Grayson.
The squirrel human powers.
Yes, something's going on with Ulysses. Got sucked up to with a vacuum, and then everything has been weird since. For instance, here was Ulysses sitting in a shoebox, knowing that there was a shovel in the trunk of the car, and that the man driving the car had been instructed to whack him over the head with a shovel. And the squirrel didn't look worried or afraid. He looked happy. And then there was Flora's mother, the person who had given Flora the shoebox. To protect your little friend on the journey, we'll just put his washcloth in here as a comfy blanket. She was standing at the door smiling and waving goodbye to them, as if she weren't truly a murder-planning arch nemesis. Talk about the darkness of 10,000 hands. What is an arch nemesis? What is an arch nemesis? You guys are all reading comic books. Toby. The bad guy. Dun, dun, dun. Or the antagonist, too. I like the arch nemesis better. That sounds much more sinister. Nothing was as it seemed. Flora looked down at the squirrel. Of course, he was not what he seemed either. And that was a good thing. An incandesto thing. Flora felt a shiver of belief or possibility pass through her. Her parents had no idea what kind of squirrel they were dealing with. Her father put the car in reverse. As he backed out of the driveway, Flora saw William Spiver standing. Is it Spiver or Speaver? Is it Speaver, according to the movie? Okay, Speaver. Standing in Tootsie's front yard. He was looking up at the sky. He turned his head slowly in the direction of the car. His glasses flashed in the sun. Tootie appeared. She was waving one of her pink gloves as if it were a flag of surrender. "Stop the car!" she shouted. Step on the gas," Flora said to her father. She did not want to talk to Tootie, and she definitely did not want to talk to William. She didn't want to see herself reflecting in his dark glasses. She had her own thoughts about the random and confusing nature of the universe. She didn't need his, too. Also, she was in a hurry. There was a murder to stop, a superhero to mentor, villains to vanquish, darkness to eradicate. She couldn't waste time trading silly thoughts with William. "Flora Belle," shouted William, almost as if he were reading her mind, "I've had some interesting thoughts."
What interesting thoughts?
He ran toward the car and fell into the bushes. "Great Aunt Tootie," he shouted, "I need your assistance." "What in the world is going on?" said her father. He slammed on the brakes. "It's just a temporarily blind boy," said Flora, and Mrs. Tickham from the next door. "She's his aunt, his great aunt. Never mind, it doesn't make any difference. Keep going." But it was too late. Tootie had helped William over the bush, and the two of them were walking toward the car. William Spiver was smiling. "Hello," her father called out to them. "I'm George Buckman. How do you do?" Flora's father introduced himself to everyone all the time, even if the person was someone he had already met. It was as annoying and extremely persistent habit of his. "Hello, sir," said William Spiver. "I am William Spiver, and I'd like to speak to your daughter, Flora Belle." "I don't have time to talk to you right now, William," said Flora. "Great Aunt Tootie, can you assist me? Will you take me to Flora's side of the vehicle?" "Please excuse me while I escort this extremely disturbed and neurotic child to the other side of the car," said Tootie. Certainly, said Flora's father. And then he said to absolutely no one, "George Buckman, how do you do?" Flora sighed. She looked down at Ulysses, considering the human beings she was surrounded by. Believing in a squirrel seemed like an increasingly reasonable plan of action. "I wanted to apologize," said William, who was now standing beside her window. "For what?" said Flora. "It wasn't the worst poetry I've ever heard." "Oh," said Flora. "And I'm sorry that I wouldn't take my glasses off when you asked me to." "Take them off now then," said Flora. "I can't. They've been glued to my head by evil forces beyond my control." "You lie," said Flora. "Yes, no, I don't. I do. I'm engaged in hyperbole. It seems as if the glasses have been glued to my head." He lowered his voice. "Actually, I'm afraid that if I take my glasses off, the whole world will unravel."
Do it.
"That's stupid," said Flora. There are bigger things to worry about." For instance, Flora realized that she was going to say something to William that she hadn't intended to say. The words were out of her mouth before she could stop them. "Do you know what an arch nemesis is?" she whispered. "Of course I do," said William Spiver, whispered back. "Right," said Flora. Well, Ulysses has got one. It's my mother." William Spiver's eyebrows rose up above his dark glasses. Flora was pleased to note that he looked properly surprised and shocked. "Speaking of Ulysses," said Tootie, "I have some poetry that I would like to recite to him." "Are you sure that now is the time for poetry recitations?" said William. Ulysses sat up straighter in his bootsy boots shoebox. He looked at Tootie. He nodded. "I was moved by your poetry," said Tootie to the squirrel. Ulysses puffed out his chest. I'm sure the father's like, "What is happening here?" And I have some poetry that I would like to recite to you in honor of the recent transformations in your life. Tootie put a hand on her chest. This is Rilke, she said. You sent out beyond your recall, go to the limits of your lodging. Embody me, flare up like a flame, and make big shadows I can move in. Okay. Ulysses stared up at Tootie, his eyes bright. Flare up like flame? Said Flora's father from the front seat. That is moving, yes. That is quite lovely. Flaring up like flame? Thank you so much. We have to be on our way now. But will you return? Said William Spivey. Flora looked up and saw William's words hanging in the air above him like a small, tattered flag. But will you return? I'm not spending the afternoon with my father, William, she said. It's not like I'm heading off to the South Pole. Terrible things can happen to you. Had done an extensive piece on what to do if you were stranded in the South Pole. Their advice could be summed up in 3 simple words. Eat seal blubber. Well, there we go. That is how we got the title.
Disgusting.
It was astonishing, really, what people could live through. Flora felt cheered up all of a sudden just thinking about eating seal blubber and doing impossible things, surviving when the odds were against her and her squirrel. They would figure out a way to outwit the arch nemesis. They would triumph over the shovel and the sack, and they would triumph together like Dolores and Incandesto. Flora's father cleared his throat. George Buckman, he said, how do you do? It was nice to meet you, sir, said William Spivey. Remember those words, said Tootie. Flare up like flame, said Flora's father. I was speaking to the squirrel, said Tootie. Of course, said Flora's father. My apologies. The squirrel. I will see you again, said William. Beware the arch nemesis, said Flora. I will see you again, said William. We're off to fight evil, said Flora as her father backed the car out of the driveway. William waved at the car. I will see you again. He seemed so stuck on the idea of seeing her again that Flora didn't have the heart to tell him that he was waving in the wrong direction. He was not waving at. So let's say Flora is going this way. He's waving this way. My goodness, what a conversation. Spies don't cry. Flora's father was a careful driver. He kept his left hand on the 10 o'clock on the steering wheel and his right hand on the 2. He never took his eyes off the road. He did not go fast. Speed, her father often said, that is what will kill you. That and taking your eyes off the road. Never, ever take your eyes off the road. Pop, said Flora, I need to talk to you. Okay, said her father. He kept his eyes on the road. About what? That sack and that shovel. What sack? Said her father. What shovel? It occurred to Flora that her father would make an excellent spy. He never really answered questions. Instead, when asked a question, he simply responded with a nifty sidestep or a question of its own. For instance, when her parents were getting their divorce, Flora had a conversation with her father that went something like this. Flora, are you and Mom getting divorced? Flora's father. Who says we're getting divorced? Flora. Mom. Flora's father. Is that what she said? Flora. That's what she said. Flora's father. I wonder why she said that. And then he started to cry. Spies probably didn't cry, but still. There's a sack and a shovel in the trunk of the car, Pop, said Flora. Is there? Said her father. I saw you put them in there. It's true. I did put a sack and a shovel in the trunk of the car. The criminal element said that it was a good idea to engage in relentless, open-ended questioning. If you question with enough ferocity, people are sometimes surprised in answering questions that they do not intend to answer. When in doubt, question. Question more, question faster. Why? Said Flora. I intend to dig a hole, said her father. For what? said Flora. A thing that I was going to bury. What thing are you going to bury? A sack. Why are you going to bury a sack? Because your mother asked me to. Why did she ask you to bury a sack? Her father tapped his fingers on the steering wheel. He stared straight ahead. Why did she ask me to bury a sack? Why did she ask me to bury a sack? That's a good one. Hey, I know. Do you want to stop and get something to eat? What? Said Flora. How about some lunch? Said her father. For the love of Pete, said Flora, or some breakfast. How about we stop and eat a meal, any meal? Flora sighed. The criminal element advised. Stalling, delaying, and obliviation is of every possible sort when it came to dealing with a criminal. Her father wasn't a criminal, not exactly, but he had been enlisted in the service of villainy. Basically, he was in cahoots with an arch nemesis. So maybe it would be good to stall. No, delay the inevitable showdown by going into a restaurant. Besides, the squirrel was hungry, and he would need to be strong for the battle ahead. Okay, said Flora. Okay, sure, let's eat. The squirrel is always hungry like somebody we know. All right, that is the next chapter is the world and all its smelly glory.
Yeah.
All right, what is going to happen? All right, that concludes our language arts.